Hi and welcome to Shelly's Everyday Adventures. It's Sunday, May 4th, 2025, and I know I haven't been on here for a little bit, and I thought I would explain what's been going on. So, some of you may know that I was out most of the month of February doing a bucket list trip with my sisters and one of my best friends and her husband. We did it was a 2-week cruise from California to Hawaii and back. Excuse me. Anyway, so it was a good trip. I did post a few videos. However, when I got back, now it seems like everything just kind of fell apart, to be quite honest with you. When I got back, now I knew this was going to be coming with my friend that went on the cruise with me. They had told her a while back. She has liver disease that is an autoimmune disease, and it has systematically destroyed a lot of her organs, one of her kidneys being one of them. So her doctors had told her that she needed to go on dialysis, and she explained to me that she did not want to go on dialysis because she travels a lot. She is constantly going on cruises. She does one a month just about, and she doesn't want to give that up. And the other reason, she said, if the dialysis were going to save her life, then there was hope. That would be one thing. But she said the dialysis is only going to prolong my life a little bit. There's no hope to fix the things that are broken with her. She's already had 3 liver transplants. I think it's just 3. Just 3. And she's got kidney failure. She's got all the things that go with it. So I've been dealing with that. It's tough. She is keeping a positive attitude. She keeps booking cruises. She's got cruises booked through February 2026. And I pray that she makes it. She booked one for us for July. And I'll take you guys with me on that and show you around. But we're going to go to the Caribbean in July. It's for her birthday. We cruised last year for her birthday. So I'm just hoping that she can make it to that, and trying to stay positive. So I'm dealing with that, which is enough. And then she's been my friend since we were children. She's been with me through a lot of things. So the thought of losing her is extremely hard. But and I have another friend who has been my friend for years. We've had our differences and had our little spats and not talked for a while. We've been back and forth. She probably wouldn't mind if I told you she's bipolar, and I take everything personal. So sometimes we have issues, and but we're good now. But I said we've had some issues, but off and on through the years. But we've always come back to each other. Found out that she has colon cancer, and it's from what I understand, kind of aggressive. So that hit me pretty hard. So 2 of my best friends, 2 of the people in my life that have supported me, whom I've been able to tell things to, and they don't judge. They don't judge. I can just talk to them. I can bounce things off of them, and they don't tell me I'm crazy. Or if they do, I take it okay, because they're my friends, been friends forever. But anyway, so I've been dealing with that. And then about the 3rd week in March, my dad, who is 77, he's going to be 78 this year, very healthy man, goes to the doctor once a year, has his physical, blood work, everything is always great. He's out working. He's a farmer, so he's working all the time. He's healthy, not somebody that you would ever think would have any kind of problem. But at the end of March, on a Monday, he went to his chiropractor because bouncing around in the tractors kind of, you need a chiropractor every now and then. So he goes to his chiropractor with my mom, and he's telling the chiropractor, he said, I've been feeling really tired lately. I don't know what's going on. I know my back is bothering me. He said, I've got this feeling like I have a ton of bricks, like it's just big truck just sitting on my chest. And he said, I'm having some pain, but he said, I think I'm what do you think, Doc? I think I'm all right. I think I'll get over it, typical old farmer attitude. And the chiropractor looks at him and he said, sir, I think you might be having a heart attack. And my dad scoffed at him and he said, my family don't have heart attacks. I ain't have no heart attack. Now just adjust me so I can go home. So the chiropractor adjusted him and he went home and he did his thing. He went about doing whatever, physical stuff that he was doing. He said it was in pretty good pain. But he figured he'd push through it, So my mom was concerned because she said he'd been tired for about a month now, coming home tired, which really wasn't like him. And so she was concerned. So the next day she called and made an appointment for him to see the family doctor. He goes into the family doctor and he sees we have the regular medical doctor and we have a physician's assistant. So he saw the physician's assistant and he told him what was going on. And the physician's assistant hooked him up to an EKG machine, and a few minutes later he said, I believe you're having a heart attack and I'm real close to sending you to the hospital because let me check with the medical doctor here in the practice. And my dad's like, I ain't having a heart attack. My family, we don't have heart attacks. I'm not going to no hospital. Well, the medical doctor comes back in and he's looking at the EKG results and he said, you, sir, are going to the hospital. You're having a heart attack. And of course, my dad's like, I'm not having a heart attack and I'm not going to the hospital. And he said, well, sir, you're going to the hospital. The ambulance just backed up to the door. You're going. So he goes ahead and he gets in the ambulance. I guess he could have turned it down. I'm really glad that he didn't. So he gets in the ambulance and he's talking to the ambulance drivers and they're like, he said, what's the best hospital to go to? And they said, well, we're not allowed to say, well, our opinion. But so Dad says, well, who has the best looking nurses? Because he's ornery like that. And they laughed and they said, they told him where they thought he, So he ended up there and they got there, went through all the procedures. They check him out and, yep, you're having a heart attack. We think you have a blockage. We're going to do a cath where they go up and they look around. But we're not sure if we're going to do that yet. It was back and forth. And finally, they're like, my sisters were there. I have one in Florida, as some of you may know. One that lives in Florida, she came up immediately. I have one that lives in Pennsylvania. She's 2 hours away. She came immediately. And me and my other sister are right here. So we're all there. And we're pushing we want to find out what's going on, do the heart cath. Well, my father's scared. He doesn't want to say that he's scared because he's a macho kind of farmer man, And, but he's scared because he's never been sick. Literally never been sick a day in his life. Never been to the hospital, never had any procedures, and doesn't take any medications. None of the above. Healthy, just healthy. So he really doesn't want to have this heart catheter done, but my sister, who's a nurse, is like, yeah, we need to find out what's going on. So they keep him in the hospital. The next morning, they decide to do it, and I run my own business. So he told me, he said, you just stay home, take care of your business. He said, your sisters will let you know what's going on. So I'm in Maryland, and he ended up in Philly, University of Penn, which is, from what I understand, and we did have a good experience. It's an excellent hospital. So anyway, the next morning they do the cath. My sister calls me and I'm expecting her to say, yeah, everything's okay. They're just going to give him some meds to, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And that's not what I got. She was very subdued and she said, Shelly, it's bad. It's bad news, really bad news. I'm like, oh my God, what? Right? So she tells me, he has a blockage and it's a widowmaker. And I don't know anything about this kind of stuff. Later on, I found out that people with a widowmaker usually die before they can get to the hospital. And usually it's before they turn 40. They're in their 40s. They're young when they die. So for him to make it to 77 and everything was just incredible. So he said, I'm not having open heart surgery. And he had been determined he wasn't having open heart surgery. But when he was faced with this, he said, okay, doc, this is how he talks. Okay, doc, what are my options? And he said, I want the robotic surgery. I don't want you opening up my chest. And the doctor said, well, we don't usually do it on patients over 60. But he said, with your health and everything, I think we can do that. But you're going to have to go to Penn from here. All this time he was at Christiana. From Christiana, they sent him to Penn to have the surgery, which was a robotic surgery. Now, I'm going to explain this. If you don't know, open heart surgery, they open up your heart. Of course, they break all the bones in your chest. They open it up. They take your heart out and they stop your heart for 16 to 17 minutes while they work on you. Then they put it back and they do all the things. Now, the complications that come with open heart surgery when they stop your heart is, one, getting your heart restarted, and two, the chance of blood clots. And there were some other things. And Dad said, well, what about the robotic surgery? And the doctor at Penn said, we don't normally do it on patients over 60, but he said, you are extremely healthy. I think you'll be a good candidate. So, of course, Dad's asking, what are your success rates, blah, 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 blah. He's like, I'm like 99.4 something, whatever. So Dad was satisfied with that. He really said he would prefer 100%, but, can't get everything you want. So they only do the robotic surgeries on certain days of the week. To make a long story even longer, I guess, he spent almost 2 weeks in the hospital because he couldn't leave. They said he could die at any moment. I mean, it could just take him out. So he had to stay in there until the surgery. So he was quite offended. Again, he is a 77, almost 78-year-old man who'd never been in the hospital before. And any of you that have been in the hospital, you know that there's no such thing as modesty. He was appalled at the fact that everybody got to see everything. His words, not mine. And I'm like, yeah, Dad, you shouldn't have kids, because nothing's sacred. But anyhow, he had the surgery. They went through the left side. It was a robot, but it was controlled by the doctor. And the surgery was a complete success. They did it on a Tuesday. Now, if they'd done the regular surgery, he'd have been in ICU for like 2 weeks, and they went on and he'd have been down forever. So they did the surgery, the robotic surgery, on his heart on a Tuesday, and literally sent him home on a Friday. On that Friday. Like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, he came home. Now, he asked his doctor, what can I do, doc? Are there any limitations? And the doctor said, there are no limitations except what your body tells you there will be, which telling a man like that, something like that is just, he just figured he could do everything, but he learned really quickly that his body needed time. So anyway, we've been going through all that. It was quite emotional. I'm dealing with two very best friends and their issues. And then that happens to my dad. And then the final straw was the other day. I went to the doctor. I've been having some symptoms. I didn't know what they were. And it's been going on for about a month. We've been doing blood work, running tests, doing all the things. And everything seemed to come back good. But then the other day, he was poking around on my stomach and he felt, he called it a mass in my upper abdomen, which sent me over the edge, to be quite honest. Anyway, I have a CT scan scheduled for May 12th. But they said all the blood work came back normal. They don't believe it's cancer. So it's quite a possibility that it is just a hernia, because the symptoms support a hernia and the blood work has come back good. So, but I'm optimistic that that's what's going on. But when you look at the doctor's order and it says CT scan for abdominal mass, it does something to you mentally when you're dealing with all the other stuff that just happened. So to be honest with you, I haven't been on here because I've checked out. I checked out mentally and emotionally. I checked out. I didn't know how to deal with it. I needed a minute, you know. So I don't think I have cancer. I don't believe that. I believe that it is a hernia. My family does have a history of hernias. Plus, I do, over the years, working in a dog grooming shop, have lifted a lot of heavy dogs that I probably shouldn't have. And, yeah, so there's that. And, hippie chick, I hope you watch this, and now you know what has been going on with me. I saw that you checked in on me, and I appreciate that. I really do. It's just been really tough, okay? It's just been really tough. So, there you have it. I'm hoping to get back to doing regular videos. These things have been just like a sucker punch. The one friend you kind of, you knew it was coming, but when it does, it's still hard. And the other one was out of the blue, and Dad was completely out of the blue. So there you go. I love all of you, and I thank you for hanging in there with me. I'll see you in the next video, okay?